Hey guys, it's me, Kari, and we are going to now continue with reading Girl Interrupted. This chapter is entitled Ice Cream. It was a spring day, the sort that gives people hope. All soft winds and delicate smells of warm earth. Suicide weather. Daisy had killed herself the week before. They probably thought we needed distraction. Without Daisy, the staff-to-patient ratio was higher than usual, 5 patients, 3 nurses. Down the hill, past the magnolia already losing its fleshy blossoms, the pink turning brown and rotten along the edge, past the paper-dry daffodils, past the sticky laurel that could crown you or poison you. The nurses were less nervous on the street that day. Spring fever makes them careless, or perhaps the staff-to-patient ratio was a more comfortable one for them. The floor of the ice cream parlor bothered me. It was black and white checkerboard tile, bigger than supermarket checkerboard. If I looked only at a white square, I would be all right. But it was hard to ignore the black squares that surrounded the white ones. The contrast got under my skin. I always felt itchy in the ice cream parlor. The floor meant yes, no, this, that, up, down, day, night, all the indecisions and opposites that were bad enough in life without having them spelled out for you on the floor. A new boy was dishing out cones. We approached him in a phalanx. "We want 8 ice cream cones," said one of the nurses. "Okay," he said. He had a friendly, pimply face. It took a long time to decide what flavors we wanted. It always did. "Peppermint stick," said the Martian's girlfriend. "It's just called peppermint," said Georgina. "Peppermint dick." "Honestly." Georgina was revving up for a complaint. "Peppermint clit." The Martian's girlfriend got a nurse nip for that. There were no other takers for peppermint. Chocolate was a big favorite. For spring they had a new flavor, peach melba. I ordered that. "You gonna want nuts on these?" the new boy asked. We looked at one another. Should we say it? The nurses held their breath. Outside, the birds were singing. "I don't think we need them," said Georgina. This chapter is called Checks. 5-minute checks, 15-minute checks, half-hour checks. Some nurses said checks when they opened the door. Click, turn the knob, swish, open the door. Checks, swish, pull the door shut. Click, turn the knob. 5-minute checks. Not enough time to drink a cup of coffee, read 3 pages of a book, take a shower. When digital watches were invented years later, they reminded me of 5-minute checks. They murdered time in the same way, slowly, chopping off pieces of it and lobbing them into the dustbin with a little click to let you know that time was gone. Click, swish, checks, swish, click. Another 5 minutes of life down the drain, and spent in this place. I got onto half-hour checks eventually, but Georgina remained on 15-minute checks, so as long as we were in the same room, it made no difference. Click, swish, checks, swish, click. It was one reason we preferred sitting in front of the nurse's station. The person on checks would pop her head out and could take her survey without bothering us. Sometimes they had the audacity to ask where someone was. Click, swish, checks. The rhythm broke for a moment. "Have you seen Polly?" "I'm not doing your job for you," Georgina growled. Swish, click. Before you knew it, she'd be back. Click, swish, checks, swish, click. It never stopped, even at night. It was our lullaby. It was our metronome, our pulse. It was our lives measured out in doses slightly larger than those famous coffee spoons. Soup spoons, maybe? Dented tin spoons brimming with what should have been sweet but was sour, gone off, gone by without savoring it. Our lives. This chapter is called Sharps. Nail scissors, nail file, safety razor, pen knife, the one your father gave you when you were 11. Pin, that pin you got when you graduated from high school, the one with 2 small pink pearls. Georgina's gold study rings. "You can't be serious. It's the backs. See?" The nurse showed her the stubby darts of that back. "They're sharps. See? That belt." "My belt? What's going on here?" The buckle was the culprit. You could maybe put your eye out with this part of the buckle, the pointy part. Knives. Well, you could make a case for knives. But forks and spoons, too? Knives, forks, and spoons. We ate with plastic. It was a perpetual picnic, our hospital. Cutting old tough beef with a plastic knife, then scooping it onto a plastic fork. The tines wouldn't stick into the meat, so you had to use the fork like a spoon. Food tastes different when eaten with plastic utensils. One month, the plastic utensil delivery was late, and we ate with cardboard knives and forks and spoons. Have you ever eaten with a cardboard fork? Imagine the taste of it, melted, clotted cardboard in and out of your mouth, rubbing on your tongue. How about shaving your legs? Over to the nurse's station. "I want to shave my legs." "Just a minute. I'm going to take a bath now, and I want to shave my legs." "Let me check your orders." "I've got to shave my legs." Supervised. "Let me check." Rustle, rattle. "Okay, just a minute. I'm going now." In the tub, swimming pool sized, Olympic swimming pool sized, deep and long and claw-footed. Click, swish, checks. Hey, where's my razor? I'm just the person on checks. I'm supposed to shave my legs now. Swish, click. More hot water. These hydrotherapy tubs are really comfortable. Click, swish. My shaving supervisor. Did you bring my razor? She hands it over. She sits on the chair next to the bathtub. I'm 18 years old. She's 22. She's watching me shave my legs. We had a lot of hairy legs on our ward. Early feminists. This chapter is called Another Lisa. One day, a second Lisa arrived. We called her by her full name, Lisa Cody, to distinguish her from the real Lisa, who remained simply Lisa, like a queen. The Lisas became friends. One of their favorite activities was having phone conversations. The 3 phone booths near the double-locked double doors were our only privacy. We could go in one and shut the door. Even the craziest person could sit in a phone booth and have a private conversation, though only with herself. The nurses had lists of permitted numbers for each of us. When we picked up the phone, a nurse would answer. Hello, we'd say. This is Georgina, or Cynthia, or Polly. I want to call 555-4270. That's not on your list, the nurse would say. Then the line would go dead. But there was still the quiet, dusty phone booth and the old-fashioned black receiver with its sharp dorsal ridge. The Lisas had phone conversations. Each one got in a booth, folded the door shut, and yelled into her receiver. When the nurse answered, Lisa yelled, "Off the line!" Then the Lisas got on with their conversation. Sometimes they yelled insults. Sometimes they yelled about their plans for the day. Want to go over to the cafeteria for dinner? Lisa Cody would yell. But Lisa was restricted to the ward, so she'd have to yell back something like, "Why do you want to eat that slop with all those psychotics?" To which Lisa Cody would yell, "What do you think you are?" "Sociopath," Lisa would yell proudly. Lisa Cody didn't have a diagnosis yet. Cynthia was depressive. Polly and Georgina were schizophrenic. I had a character disorder. Sometimes they called it a personality disorder. When I got my diagnosis, it didn't sound serious, but after a while it sounded more ominous than other people's. I imagined my character as a plate or shirt that had been manufactured incorrectly and was therefore useless. When she'd been with us a month or so, Lisa Cody got a diagnosis. She was a sociopath too. She was happy because she wanted to be like Lisa in all things. Lisa was not so happy because she had been the only sociopath among us. We are very rare, she told me once, and mostly we are men. After Lisa Cody got her diagnosis, the Lisas started making more trouble. Acting out, the nurses said. We knew what it was. The real Lisa was proving that Lisa Cody wasn't a sociopath. Lisa tongued her sleeping meds for a week, took them all at once, and stayed zonked for a day and a night. Lisa Cody managed to save only 4 of hers, and when she took them, she puked. Lisa put a cigarette out on her arm at 6:30 in the morning while the nurses were changing shifts. That afternoon, Lisa Cody burned a tiny welt on her wrist and spent the next 20 minutes running cold water on it. Then they had a life history battle. Lisa wormed out of Lisa Cody that she'd grown up in Greenwich, Connecticut. Greenwich, Connecticut, she sneered. No sociopath could emerge from there. You a debutante, too? Speed, black beauties, coke, heroin, Lisa had done it all. Lisa Cody said she'd been a junkie, too. She rolled her sleeve back to show her tracks. Faint scratches along the vein as if once, years before, she'd tangled with a rose bush. A suburban junkie, said Lisa. You were playing, that's what. Hey man, junk's junk, Lisa Cody protested. Lisa pushed her sleeve up to her elbow and shoved her arm under Lisa Cody's nose. Her arm was studded with pale brown lumps, gnarled and authentic. These, said Lisa, are tracks, man. Later for your tracks. Lisa Cody was beaten, but she didn't have the sense to give up. She still sat beside Lisa at breakfast and hall meetings. She still waited in the phone booth for the call that didn't come. I gotta get rid of her, said Lisa. You're mean, Polly said. Fucking bitch, said Lisa. Who? Asked Cynthia, Polly's protector, but Lisa didn't bother to clarify. One evening, when the nurses walked the halls at dusk to turn on the lights that made our ward as bright and jarring as a penny arcade, they found every light bulb gone. Not broken, vanished. We knew who'd done it. The question was, where had she put them? It was hard to search in the darkness. Even the light bulbs in our room were gone. Lisa has the true artistic temperament, said Georgina. Just hunt, said the head nurse. Everybody hunt. Lisa set out the hunt in the TV room. It was Lisa Cody who found them, as she was meant to. She was probably planning to set out the hunt as well, in the place that held memories of better days. She must have felt some resistance when she tried to fold the door back. There were dozens of light bulbs inside. But she persevered, just as she persevered with Lisa. The crunch and clatter brought us all scampering down to the phone booths. Broken, said Lisa Cody. Everyone asked Lisa how she'd done it, but all she would say was, I've got a long, skinny arm. Lisa Cody disappeared 2 days later. Somewhere between our ward and the cafeteria, she slipped away. Nobody ever found her, though the search went on for more than a week. She couldn't take this place, said Lisa. And though we listened for a trace of jealousy in her voice, we didn't hear one. Some months later, Lisa ran off again while she was being taken to a gynecology consult at the Mass General. 2 days she managed this time. When she got back, she looked especially pleased with herself. I saw Lisa Cody, she said. Ooh, said Georgina. Polly shook her head. She's a real junkie now, said Lisa, smiling. All right, we're going to do one more chapter, I think. This one is called Checkmate. We were sitting on the floor in front of the nursing station having a smoke. We liked sitting there. We could keep an eye on the nurses that way. On 5-minute checks, it's impossible, said Georgina. I did it, said Lisa Cody. Nah, said the real Lisa, you didn't. She had just started her campaign against Lisa Cody. On 15, I did it, Lisa Cody amended. Maybe on 15, said Lisa. Oh, 15's easy, said Georgina. Wade's young, said Lisa. 15 would work. I hadn't tried yet. Although my boyfriend had calmed down about me being in the hospital and come to visit me, the person on checks caught me giving him a blowjob, and we'd been put on supervised visits. He wasn't visiting anymore. They caught me, I said. Everybody knew they'd caught me, but I kept mentioning it because it bothered me. Big deal, said Lisa. Fuck 'em. She laughed. Fuck them and fuck them. I don't think he could do it in 15 minutes, I said. No distractions, right down to business, said Georgina. Who are you fucking anyhow? Lisa asked Lisa Cody. Lisa Cody didn't answer. You're not fucking anybody, said Lisa. Fuck you, said Daisy, who was passing by. Hey, Daisy, said Lisa. You ever fuck on 5-minute checks? I don't want to fuck these assholes in here, said Daisy. Excuses, Lisa whispered. You're not fucking anybody either, said Lisa Cody. Lisa grinned. Georgina's going to lend me Wade for an afternoon. All it takes is 10 minutes, said Georgina. They never caught you, I asked her. They don't care. They like Wade. You have to fuck patients, Lisa explained. Get rid of that stupid boyfriend and get a patient boyfriend. Yeah, that boyfriend sucks, said Georgina. I think he's cute, Lisa Cody said. He's trouble, said Lisa. I started to sniffle. Georgina patted me. He doesn't even visit, she pointed out. It's true, said Lisa. He's cute, but he doesn't visit. And where does he get off with that accent? He's English. He grew up in Tunisia. These were very important qualifications for being my boyfriend, I felt. Send him back there, Lisa advised. I'll take him, said Lisa Cody. He can't fuck in 15 minutes, I warned her. You'd have to give him a blowjob. Whatever, said Lisa Cody. I like a blowjob now and then, said Lisa. Georgina shook her head. Too salty. I don't mind that, I said. Did you ever get one that had a really bitter taste? Puckery like lemons, only worse, Lisa said. Some kind of dick infection, said Georgina. Yuck, said Lisa Cody. Nah, it's not an infection, said Lisa. It's just how some of them taste. Oh, who needs them, I said. We'll find you a new one in the cafeteria, said Georgina. Bring a few extra back, said Lisa. She was still restricted to the ward. I'm sure Wade knows somebody nice, Georgina went on. Let's forget it, I said. The truth was I didn't want a crazy boyfriend. Lisa looked at me. I know what you're thinking, she said. You don't want some crazy boyfriend, right? I was embarrassed and didn't say anything. You'll get over it, she told me. What choice have you got? Everybody laughed. Even I had to laugh. The person on checks put her head out of the nursing station and bobbed it 4 times, once for each of us. Half-hour checks, said Georgina. That would be good. $1 million would be good, too, said Lisa Cody. This place, said Lisa. We all sighed. All right, guys, we are going to stop there for now. We are already like a third of the way through this book. Wow, that's crazy. I really like how it's sort of self-contained chapters and it's not linear, as you can see. You know, obviously Daisy already committed suicide, but yeah, we're going back to Daisy chapters, and I just think that's kind of cool because it's definitely, you know, not in a linear fashion storytelling like the way the movie is. I love them both. I've watched the movie probably more than I've read the book, but I'm really enjoying revisiting it because it's been a while. So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Have a great rest of your day. Just going to show you real quick. Brian and I went to the mall and I got this really, really cute bracelet. It is a loci. And you guys probably, if you're familiar with loci, you know them for the little round rubber bead bracelets that are made with Dead Sea salts and like water from the Dead Sea and like, or no, I think it's water from Mount Everest and salt from the Dead Sea or whatever. But anyway, this one's metal, and I thought it was so cool. It says "Stay Hopeful." And it was a $28 bracelet on sale for $2.99. I mean, because seriously, your girl does not need another bracelet, but hope is my favorite word. And I actually have a necklace that says "Stay Hopeful." And I think it's the same color that my friend Robin gave me for my birthday last year. So it's really, really cool that now I have the bracelet to match. And it was such a deal. But anyway, I had to show you that because, you know, I got to keep you involved in my life. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll be back soon with more stuff. Bye, guys.